Hello everyone, welcome to our updates. A quick recap from part 1. Expecting people to treat you based on perfection is like going on a wild goose chase, as everyone you know possesses attributes that makes them either uniquely adorable or uniquely crazy. It's one thing to relate with people from a neutral angle like hi, hello. It's another thing to have a great work or romantic relationship with them. As there are threats or skills that we acquire that makes it easy for us not only to navigate relationships with even the most difficult people, but also makes us attractive to people regardless of the kind of relationship we share with them. Unique insights on how to maintain any relationship. 5. Change your perspective to the situation. According to Wayne Dyer, if what you're looking at is not changing, then change the way you look at it. I spent many years being frustrated over reckless drivers, but this insight changed everything when I thought, there would always be careless drivers and there is nothing I can do about it. So rather than channel my energy into things that I can't control, I rather focus it on my safety. Guess what? Since then, it almost feels like all I experience is good drivers. This is so real because wherever attention goes, energy flows. I learned that 10 years is required to cancel people in marriage. But this will surprise you because some people have been in marriage for over 20 years and it almost feels like their experience has taught them nothing. Because if it has, you won't be making the same complaints you made in your first year. Forgive me, but I do not consider 30 miserable years in marriage as being married, as I rather the person is happily single. The difference between changing your perspective to the situation and managing or being patient with it is that the latter comes with a lot of frustration and pain that can cause you mental health disorders, while changing your perspective to the situation comes with a different outlook that eradicates the frustration. 6. Don't react. Isn't it funny how it almost feels like everything around us is seeking our attention? It's simple. That's because it's the only way they get access to our energy. A long time ago, I received a work-related email that got under my skin because it was based on prejudice. I honestly wanted to respond and say I advise you get a mental health evaluation. But as I thought it through, I said to myself, if you respond to this email, then just maybe you're the one that needs the evaluation. Because if you are convinced that this person is crazy, then why come down to their level? So I let it fly. Here's the thing. If I had responded, I would have given away my power by giving them the opportunity to trigger me even more. 3 things you should always remember before you react. 1. When you react, you give them a voice by giving them access to your energy. And that is exactly what they're seeking for. 2. When you react, you become a slave because already they have access to your energy, so they get to manipulate your emotions and decide how you feel. 3. When you react, it's almost impossible to take your power back, or rather, it requires a lot of skills, and there is no need going through that route. Stop giving people undue access to your energy. Trust me on this one, if you can master the act of not reacting, you'll be shocked at how many relationships you would maintain. 7. Set healthy boundaries. According to Brené Brown, an author and a professor, when we fail to set boundaries and hold people accountable, we feel used and mistreated. This is one of the most important insights in maintaining any relationship, as familiarity breeds contempt. Boundaries does not exonerate you from being a great team worker or a great spouse. It only draws the lines and in essence teaches people how not to treat you. Some people have lost relationships with great potentials because they didn't set healthy boundaries and they were mistreated. When you're too familiar with people, you give them undue access to you. Some people have lost jobs because they didn't set boundaries. Quick reminder that you were hired to work and not to make friends. So focus. 8. Let it go. An 83 years old woman told me that the best strategy to build a home is to forgive them at will. Get used to the fact that humans would always err, so make up your mind to forgive them in advance. Not necessarily because they are innocent, but because you choose your peace of mind over drama. Finally, communication. Assumption is the worst form of knowledge, so communicate when you need clarity. Don't always assume that people are bad, they hate you, they are trying to prove a point. No. Call them, text them, do them an email, leave them a voice note. That is why we have different forms of communication. According to George Bernard Shaw, a playwright and political activist, the one biggest problem with communication is the illusion that it has taken place. Trust me, certain situations will never change until we communicate effectively, as it helps us to understand other people's viewpoints so that we're not making decisions based on what we think or what someone else told us. Effective communication is the number one key to maintain any relationship, as some people lost their relationships simply because they did not communicate minor concerns. That will be all for now. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. Never forget, you're good enough, you matter, and you're blessed.